Indiana's best political team says a special session to redraw Indiana's congressional maps now looks more likely than ever. They say there are a couple of different ways that it could happen. That drove some of our discussion for this week's episode of All Indiana Politics.
It's looking like it is going to happen, and whether or not it's a good idea is going to have to play out in history. But I do think that there is pause for cause, considering we just approved the maps that we're using now. Who is going to pay for a special session to do the work to redistrict, and is this what Hoosiers want? I think is the biggest question that we have to ask.
Lindsay, I'll let you respond to that as well.
Sure, I'm not necessarily sure. I agree with that. They're going to go straight into a special session. I think they're just going to start session early. That's just my thoughts on it. After having chatted with some folks, I think they're just going to start it early and start those hearings early, and in the name of transparency, and try to make sure that that conversation starts sooner to involve more people. Although obviously we know that the decision will be made behind closed doors, as it normally is in redistricting. Let's be frank, it always happens that way. No matter who's in control, that always occurs that way. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of rhetoric going around on this, and I absolutely know that, just like I said last week, there is no consensus on this in either, definitely in the Senate chamber, in the Senate GOP, but definitely in the House GOP too.
You heard Representative Delaney say the governor might be adding topics because there's not enough support for a redistricting only session. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's going to be, I mean, we obviously know that there's a lot of concern about SEA 1 and the implications with all of the local financing. The locals are budgeting right now, so it's becoming increasingly important. And I think the deficits that folks are finding out are even worse than they anticipated. So costs are higher, things are costing more, and so they need more cash to make it happen for folks at home.
Whitley, I'll let you respond to that, and also just one final take on whether or not this is going to happen.
It would be wise of the administration to make sure that if they call the special session, that they're doing what's best for Hoosiers. And if there are other topics and issues that must be discussed and that should be voted on, it would be incumbent upon them to utilize that time to do so, especially since they would be utilizing our tax dollars to have a special session. All in all, I think that we've seen people come and go on this topic, but we're beginning to see more Republican legislators agree with doing a redistrict. And so I do believe that the special session will be called and we will end up in a redistrict.
All right, we'll see what happens. Be sure to catch the full conversation on All Indiana Politics this Sunday morning. It airs at 9:30 right here on Wish TV.